is the Weston Board of Selectmen's meeting, May 5th, 2016. This is being taped. It will be posted on our website, along with minutes in due order.
I've done some research myself. And Tracy from our zoning department has told me that a dog park would require zoning approval. All right, that's one. I would also imagine that conservation is going to probably want something to say about it because of the waste that's deposited by the dogs. So we've got a couple of hills to climb here, and they're not small ones. The people live in the neighborhood. That's why I gave you that one suggestion on that one piece of land, because there's not a lot of people up there. But I've already heard from them that I believe that they're probably going to come out and be opposed to it because of the additional traffic. There's insurance risk. That's Upper Valley, Upper Parish, I think it's called. Yeah. There's going to be insurance questions that the town needs to find out about because, all right, so we have a park, and maybe you have the answers from the other towns. Who's liable for the insurance? The other thing that came up was an environmental impact study because I'm not mentioning names, but before dogs are allowed on certain pieces of property, there maybe should have been a study done so that they could have seen what kind of environmental impact that had to the indigenous wildlife. And I'm not just talking about the birds, I'm talking about all the things that crawl, everything, okay? And so, yeah, we have some hurdles to go through, and I think that this time it would be advisable for the committee to back off and get organized and find out everything we need to do and get the applications from Tracy and whoever we have to get and work on that and figure out. I question the dog bylaw. You're right. The owner of the dog is responsible. But what I think I've heard, the feedback that I got from the different agencies was that when you create a situation where dogs are there, then who's got the deepest pockets? If you look in any phone book under attorneys, there's a couple hundred pages. So
everybody gets sued.
Exactly. You will find everybody. And the ones with the deepest pockets, in this particular case, would probably be the town.
You both brought a key set of issues, and it has to do with the location of where.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of this is going to be contingent on finding the right parcel of land because there are environmental impacts. Unlike those other towns, we are wholly dependent on our aquifers and our water supplies for well water and for septic and all that. And we're fairly hilly, so gradient is really important too. And as Mark pointed out, there's a lot of indigenous wildlife over there. Working with Tracy at land use to find a suitable parcel that's at least 2 acres that hopefully doesn't have a lot of indigenous wildlife, because Mark's given all sorts of anecdotes about problems with, dogs and fishermen and things that we're having on.
It goes a little deeper than that. I think the food chain is what happens there, because what happens is when the dog defecates, okay, then let's say mice, rat, whatever eats it, okay, sure. Then the birds of prey come down, and dogs carry at least 7 diseases in them that are very contagious. So what happens is you infect our mice and other ones, then our hawks eat them. Then so there's a whole chain reaction here that we have to really watch out for, and that's what I'm saying.
So there's land. Is there not in Weston now any in Weston available areas?
No,
But
there are some parts,
no, except in the summer.
but it's not fenced in, and there are some places.
Specifically one
Yeah,
fence.
we want a fenced in dedicated dog park in Weston.
What's the advantage for dog that we fenced in?
Well, then you don't have to worry so much about running into the road. And you can allow the dogs, they're in that area and they can play with their
For the
other.
safety of the dog.
Yeah, it's the safety of the dogs, and also, you know, like when I go to Cranberry Park, it is, you were physically hiking, you know, for an hour and a half with your dog, running, you know, getting them exercise, and it's the same with Travel Road or other places. So I think that you're correct, we need to identify the land, we need to go through the applications, we need to make those hurdles before we can do any, I mean, that's the key, is the land. But we can't do it on our own, I've already been up there and tried. And I don't know what land in Weston is viable. I need somebody in the town to help us with that.
Talk to Tracy?
I think I've talked to everybody. And they've sent me, and they ended up sending me to the tax assessor's office where I stood for about 3 hours at their computer looking at all the land, trying to eliminate anything in neighborhoods, anything, you know, trying to really, I know there's some land, we're really curious about the land up at the dump. Because we're like, who could say no to a dog park at a dump? I mean,
Cat lovers.
But there's, you know, there's some sort of parcel of land up at the dump that I, you know,
There's 50, there's a lot of acreage up there. It's, the terrain though is somewhat complicated,
Pretty rocky in there.
but the rock is actually good. But again, you know,
right.
whether or not there's going to be self-policing, we still will need fairly stringent mechanisms for enforcement, just
exactly.
because, as Mark is pointing out, there's a whole chain of events that happen with, just in terms of even nitrogen gets into the soil, and that's the main source of nitrogen, that causes algae blooms. When you see the ponds
Right.
with that green covering, that's what's going on. It's fertilizer, but that's what fertilizes.
Right.
There's also a lot of other bacteria and microbes and everything. So Weston's very conscious of that. That's kind of one of our main marketing points. Tracy has, and Tom Failer also, and all of conservation and planning and zoning has intricate knowledge of almost every parcel of land in town.
I would like to say that I think it's a great idea, and a lot of towns do have them. But you know, let's do it the right way and make sure that you know everything's perfect and done by the book, and there's no questions left unanswered here, and it doesn't come back to. And I'm not being smart, but I'm biting in the ass. And you know, we have to do it the right way. And the other thing is that I think that people need to know that, you know, there are areas that they can go here in Weston on Wellsville Road. There's a big parking lot, it's separate from Trout Brook. There's 2 miles of open trails there that a lot of people in Weston take their dogs over there. Also down on Newtown Turnpike, there's another park down there that's 21 acres, I think. You can take your dogs down there, there's a river, there's a field, there's all that stuff. So we do have some stuff for now that's available. But if they want a fenced in area, then they're gonna, you know, we need to really work on that.
Now, I have another question. All right, I have another question. 2 acres is the average parcel of land,
Yeah.
homeowners. Why aren't you doing that on your own property?
Because I don't want to have 50 dogs in my backyard.
Now, I have another question. All right, I have another question. 2 acres is the average parcel of land,
Yeah.
homeowners. Why aren't you doing that on your own property?
Because I don't want to have 50 dogs in my backyard.